When you start something like a career, like a creative career, everyone will tell you it is difficult from a financial perspective. Like, it's hard because the hours you put in versus what you get doesn't match. Like, let me put it into perspective for you, yeah? There is the four of us plus our manager. We could go and play show, like in our early days, we'd be going to shows for like £500-600. Now, ask me, how does that make sense? £500-600 between five guys. You need to get the equipment there, get the equipment back. That alone is about £250.
So, Stephen, I feel like I have had all, what's it called, the access pass and front row seats to your life.
Literally.
Since childhood.
Literally.
So I want us to break it down from the very beginning. So I've known you since we were 6. And my memory of you from then, even secondary school, this quiet guy, just, chilled, quiet. And now you're like this public figure.
Apparently. Apparently so.
I mean, yeah, don't you think so?
If that's what you want to call it, yeah. I mean, yeah.
You are a public figure.
Yeah.
So let's take it back. Drumming. How, what, when, where?
Yeah, it's always been there, isn't it? Like, from as young as like 3.
3?
Yeah, it's always been there. Obviously, from that age, it was like an interest. It was just like a...
You were interested in drumming at 3
Yeah, like I
years
was
old.
always like infatuated and like fascinated by it, like when I'd see it. And earliest memory obviously being like church, like seeing it at church and stuff like that. And then, yeah, so obviously it's like, when you're like up until the age of like 11, 10, 11, it's like, oh, you're a kid, so like you just like different things. Like I could like that, I could like football, I could like this. You just latch onto things. But then it gets to a certain age, like 10, 11, where it's like, okay, like there's something here. And I think that was like when it got to like that age where it was like evident to everyone, like my family and stuff, where it's like, okay, like, this guy is really into this thing. Like I was never like I want to play football or I want to, I didn't have any interest in literally anything else but drums. Like everything in my life, literally up until like just the last couple of years, it's always been drums. So yeah, up until that age, obviously my only access to it was obviously church. So like I was very like dedicated to, not that I'm not dedicated now, but like I was very dedicated to, like, I looked forward to my Sundays. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like that's the one time I can get to like play. I would do like extra things, like my mum would go and clean the church on Sunday. Like I would go so I could, like, while she's cleaning
be around
with
drums.
the other aunties, I'm just playing drums. Like the whole 2-3 hours they're there. Like extra. My mum was like, she still does like sings in church. So like,
your mum sings?
Yeah, my mum sings at church. So like all the like, not that my mum's a professional singer or anything, but like,
She sings.
Yeah, she
like,
sings in church.
Yeah.
So like all the like extra like midweek stuff at church, like I would want to go with my mum and stuff like that. Sometimes even like down to like funerals to do with church, like I'd go because it's like obviously there's going to be music and they're going to be playing, so like, I'd go. I always say my first gig that I got called for was actually a funeral. I'll never forget. I think I was like 6, and it was a funeral of like quite a big like pastor that passed away, and then they got to the funeral, and then apparently the drummer just didn't turn up, so they, like, my mum just called
you.
My mum they were there, my mum and dad were there, and
Yeah.
then those days, like, obviously the house phone, innit? Like they called the house phone and like they're like, yo, we're coming back home to get you because they need you to come. They said they need you to come and play the drums. So like, yeah, like obviously I went, and that was like the first day I was like, wow, like he's really good. So yeah, then I mean, I was gonna say cut a long story short, but I made it a long story.
Well,
anyway.
you tell your story.
Yeah, then like from there, obviously, like I'm now getting older, so I'm a bit more self-sufficient. So like I'm like once I've gone to school, like I've obviously immersed myself in like music and like extra activities for music. And then I always tell this story, like my boy Ben, like I always say I owe my career to Ben. Like I don't joke when I say that, because it's like the story goes, that's how we actually became friends. Like the story goes, he walks up to me one day and like, I heard you play drums. I was like, yeah. And Ben was like one of those, like, you can play drums at his church. He's like, you're not better than me though. And I was like, you give a shot, man. And then like, yeah, like he saw me play. Oh my gosh! And he's like, oh, come to my church. Like, you should come to my church. So I went to his church one Sunday. Like, it was a Saturday. They had like a lot of like youth stuff. So when I went there, then I met like a few other musicians who were actually like, at the time they were like actually professional musicians. Like that was their thing. So like through that, then like they started like kind of like, oh, like come here with us. Like you can come with me. Like, so yeah, through that, that's just how like I just started like meeting different people, and obviously with people come opportunities and stuff like that, and then it was just, you know, going from there.
Okay, let's hold on to that and take it further. So you mentioned your family. Do you know how your family, like the reason why they moved from Ghana to London? Do you know that story?
I think it's just the typical story, like you're just looking for a better life. Do you know what I mean? Like my dad came first, and then he brought my mum over. Like I actually found out the other day, like my dad was 26 or 27.
Yeah, our parents came like early 20s.
And my mum was
like
20.
My mum was 21 when
Yeah, I
she
think my
came.
mum was 21.
Yeah, they all
20
came
or
around.
21,
yeah, North London.
Literally.
Yeah.
So yeah, they just came like, and I always say like, I'm sure we'll dive into like stuff like that later, but that is like, until you're older, you don't deep, but like that is honestly like a big source of inspiration. Like,
It has
for
to
me,
be,
like,
yeah.
just deep in like family of like, no one in my family's like, we don't have like some rich uncle. My dad's not some rich man. Like we just come from like hard work, dedication. Like that's what I know. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, they just came looking for a better life. Like it was like, it's almost like, listen, I need to get out of there, innit? Like, because you know those days Ghana wasn't what Ghana is now. Do you know what I mean? So they just came here looking for a better life, and then me and my siblings came along to add to it. So yeah.
So how was your upbringing? Because I think you're one of the few people that I know close to me where their parents are still together. So growing up, having both mum and dad in the house, how was that for you?
Yeah, it was good, man. Like I think, again, not till you're older you realise certain things, but I grew up with a lot of love, definitely. Like my parents are they're there for us, do you know what I mean? Like I always say, like at this age now, one thing I've never ever seen is my parents argue.
Really?
Like I've never seen that. Like my parents I've never seen them fall out, and obviously parents, it's a relationship, and they have little disagreements, but it will never be in front of us.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I always commend them for that. Do you know what I mean? Like they're always like, even if we don't have, you guys will never lack. Do you know what I mean? It's always been that. So like, I remember one thing I always remember is being, I think 10, and like I was saying, that's like the age where you kind of cement like, oh, like, do you know what? He's really into this thing. And I remember it was my birthday, and my dad was going to work, and he woke me up on a Saturday as well. And like, so I'm thinking I'm a kid, like Saturdays that's my holiday, do you know what I mean? But he's woke me up at like 7 a.m. as he's about to go to work. And he brings me down like on my birthday, and he's like, I got something for you. And I literally came down, like there was a real, like not a toy drum kit, like a real drum kit.
Oh my gosh, is that the drum kit in your living room?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And I remember seeing that, and like I was so like, I can't believe this. Like I was like,
so they believed in you
like
from the beginning.
That's one thing I love about my parents, you know, like they've always been those kind of people to just be like, you know, with all of us, like my older sister, my brothers, like they've always been like that. Like my little brother plays football, like my dad, like continuously in the cold, rain, sunshine, he's there, like taking my little brother to football up until the point he's at now, like actually playing football, like, you know, as a career now. Do you know what I mean? My dad's been there for me. Like if he can't take me to like something himself, he'll find someone to take me. Like they've always been, my sister, like pushing her like in studies. No, this job is too small. Go for it. Like they've always been those kind of people. So like, yeah, I'm definitely grateful for that. Like as I've grown up, I've seen the positive impact that has had on me.
Yeah.
Just having both my parents there for me, like just showing a lot of love.
So what positive impact has it had on you? What are the things that you've seen that, okay, this is because my parents have instilled this in me? What are some of those things?
Just like morals. You know what I mean? Like morals, the way you carry yourself, like when you're out. Like it's made me very like, in terms of my interactions with people, with adults, how I like to treat people and stuff like that. And it just comes from my parents, you know what I mean? Even like little things like you take for granted, like your hygiene and how you do, like obviously what I do, like I travel a lot, I tour a lot. So like I'm sharing spaces with people, but it's little things like how I fold, like I say it all the time, yeah? When people come to my house, like my friends come to my house and like they see my room and like you open my wardrobe and like you see how my clothes are folded and that's like, brother, I'm like, brother, I learned that from my dad. Like literally, like my clothes are literally folded like when you go to a shop, how clothes, like I learned that from my dad. Do you know what I mean? Like stuff like change this every day, like do this, when you finish bathing, use antiperspirant, you don't just spray, like all those little things. Like my dad taught me how to wear a suit, my dad taught me how to do a tie, like all those little things. So it's like the Stephen you see today is just because of
Stephen Senior
and my mum. Do you know what I mean? Like my mum is very rooted in like church. So it's like there's certain things like I'm very like cautious of. Like my mum, I don't want my mum to ever think certain things of me or see. So it's like I could never do certain things because I'm just like in the back of my head like my mum would be fuming or my dad would be fuming if they saw this. Do you know what I mean? Like my dad, for example, my dad gets angry at stuff like if I get a speeding ticket or like a parking ticket, like he's angry.
Yeah,
like,
could have avoided that.
He's like, you're so careless. Why are you being careless? Like, do you know, like little things like that. So it's, you know, just stuff like that, man. Like, and it sounds like simple. The answer's not gonna be like, oh, they make sure I do this every morning. It's like basic life things. Like, and I feel like parents are the only people that can teach you certain things.
Yes.
Like literally, if you don't have your parents,
not the school.
No,
yeah, it starts from home.
It starts from home, like because honestly, when you go into school, like you're molded a certain way. So it's like this is no disrespect to anybody that doesn't have like certain family setups, but it's like I feel like when you don't have certain family setups, you're easily swayed by what looks like this is a good thing to do, but it's like, no, this can't run in my house. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I think it sounds silly. Like, I know how my mum would feel like if she saw like I was smoking or I was drinking and I'm drunk. Like, I know how my mum would feel. Not to say like I'm some innocent guy, but obviously we all drink and whatever. But it's like, even if I drink, it's like, no, do it in moderation. Do you know what I mean? Like, be wise. So it's just like little things like that that I always like credit my parents for.
Yeah. Let's go back to school. Secondary school specifically, because after school we didn't go home after school. We were outside gallivanting. I remember you like short guy with his big bag and his blazer. Like you were just this quiet.
I'm not short now.
Yeah, you've grown. But back in the day, Stephen was this short guy, just in the background, but he was always there. So in school, were you the quiet one? Were you like in the middle, not so cool with everyone?
Yeah, man. Like I was cool with everyone. Like everyone was cool. Like I was, you know, I was always like big up Ignatius as well, man. Like
school molded you.
Yeah, like and the mad thing is, like I always say, like I feel like we're a unique set of people where like it's rare you see like groups of friends from.
I was actually going to say that your friends, you've been friends with even before secondary school, like primary school. Yeah.
And it's like, it's mad, like, we've never fallen out, we've never had like big fallouts and stuff like that. There's actually been stuff that's happened that's brought us closer. You know what I mean? Like, my boy Shaquan passing, like, I feel like that really brought us together. Like, do you know what I mean? So, like, I've always been... I got a lot of love to give. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I got love for everybody. I may not be as close with certain people. Obviously, in a big group of friends, naturally, some people are closer. But it's like whatever I do, like I include everybody. Do you know what I mean? Like in school, like I was always like like just around everyone, like everyone's cool, man. Like I had no issues with anybody. Like till today, like I got no issues with no one from school. Like I speak to everybody. You know, you're older now, you bump into people. It's like, oh, what you saying, man? You good? Like, do you know what I mean? So,
what are some of the things secondary school taught you that you'll never forget?
I mean, I went to an all-boys school, innit? So
yeah, what was
like,
that like?
So it's like, whether you like it or not, the level of like toughness you have to have, like be a man about certain things.
Did anyone pick on you?
Nah, do you know what? I was fortunate. Like I knew a lot of people, and I had a lot of like, quite a few like big brother figures as well in school, because my older sister knew a lot of like the older boys. So like, oh, that's Edwina's little brother. So yeah, and just through, and I think one thing I realized is like a lot of people found me a bit cool because of the drums. So it's like, oh, he's cool, man. Like, do you know what I mean? Like he's doing whatever. So I think naturally I'm a people person. Do you know what I mean? So like I make friends with people like quite well. So it's like, no, I was just cool with everyone. Literally, like. Yeah, I mean... I
noticed when we were in school, I wouldn't say you were the most, like, I don't know if confident is the right word, but it seemed like the others were a bit more louder than you were. Is that because of, like, your upbringing?
Yeah, like, I'm always, like... Do you know one thing about me? Like, I think I'm very individualistic. So it's like... And I'm someone, like... It can be annoying sometimes, but like I'm not afraid to admit it. I'm someone like I go through like phases of where like I want to be quite introverted, like I don't want to be too out there, and it's like I'm someone like I know where I fit as well. So it's like if like typical like when we go to an all boys school, if after school like we're going to meet the girls or whatever, like if I don't speak to the girls, I'm not gonna force myself to go and speak to the girls. Until today, I'm still like that. Like, if I don't know you like that, I'm not gonna force myself to go speak to you.
And then college. Going into college, did you know what you wanted? Well, it was always the drums still, like going into college.
Yeah, like college. So college is where like.
Because you did business in college. Why did you pick business?
Because I did business because I always liked business, and I knew I wanted to have some kind of business in my life, and it was like I did not see, not to say in a big-headed way, I didn't see why I needed to go and study music, because I just felt like what I want to do in music and the level of a musician I already was, I felt like kind of what do I need to be taught? Do you know what I mean? So it's like I just felt like let me go and study something else. So I went to go study. I did business studies.
Did you enjoy it?
I loved it. Yeah,
you did?
I did like it. Yeah,
even though you were hardly there.
Exactly, it was hard.
Let's go get lunch. I'm not here.
Yeah, literally. Like I loved business. Like I loved studying business. Like obviously, I think college is where like everything really kicked off for me musically, like in terms of my career. So it became quite hard, but I knew number one was always music. So a lot of decisions I made in my life around that time was on the basis of I'm going to have a banging music career. I didn't have it at the time, but I just knew it was going to happen. So
how did you know?
Which is, I just knew, like, I just had in my head, like, this is what I'm going to do. And it was like, that's why I chose to do a BTEC instead of an A-level, because I knew if I do an A-level,
more commitment.
It's more commitment. Like I need to be more, but I knew if I do BTEC, doesn't require me being in college every single day.
Yeah.
I might get like 2 days off in a week. My days won't be as long. So that's why I made that decision to like, okay, cool. I'm still getting some kind of education, but I've got the flexibility to attend to my career as and when I need to as well. So it was good because like even my like tutors in college, like they got to know like this is what I do, and like so in some capacity they would help me, like. And then I got one guy, because them two, like they would always, J-Van was a producer, and like so he understood, and Patrick was just the like, he rated what I did, so like he would send me work, like this is what we're doing. And I had one guy, what was his name? Basically, he would do my work. Like, he would send me his work and be like, bro, just copy it, it's fine, like, literally. So, like, those guys, like, helped me. They basically helped me pass, because really and truly, like, if it was down to me, I probably wouldn't have passed, but they actually helped me pass, you know. So it's like, and it's not like I'd literally copy and paste, like, I'd obviously read it, tweak it, like, and learn something at the end of the day, because I did have interest in business anyway. So it's mad. I still actually speak to one of my tutors.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like we was
on
even,
LinkedIn?
not like
Number,
WhatsApp.
okay.
Yeah, like we was even talking about like doing business together and all sorts as well. So it's like, you know, in that regard, like I guess he didn't hate me too much, innit? Yeah.
So let's talk about, you mentioned your career and college was literally a decade ago.
Literally.
So you've...
That is mad.
A decade. We can actually say a decade.
That is mad.
College was a decade ago. You've been in the band for a decade. So looking back at the beginning and looking back now, what can you say about the journey and your growth?
It's not been easy. It's like anything. It has its challenges. You have your moments where like you're like, I'm gonna give up. But it's been like, when I look at it from, do you know what? Yeah, this is something like not a lot of people. Well, if you're close to me, like I shared this, but I remember on my birthday.
Which one?
Literally my most recent birthday, my 26th birthday. I was in Ghana, and one thing about me on my birthday, I always like just take a moment to just reflect. Do you know what I mean? And the older you're getting, the more you like start to deep life. And like on my birthday, I remember I was in a bit of a... So I went out the night before into my birthday. I was like, oh yeah, happy birthday, Stephen, blah, blah, blah. I wasn't in the greatest... And then on my birthday, like I had a little thing, party kind of thing at my house. I was cool. And then I think like the day after, or 2 days after, like I was in a weird mood. And I literally just started crying. Like I literally was crying, like you think like someone died, kind of cried. Not like on the floor, but like I was really emotional. But it came from like, I just started thinking to myself, and I was like, bro, like my life is actually mad. Like if I deep where this thing started, who I was, when this started, and who I am today, what I've achieved, what I've accomplished, I was literally like, God, like I couldn't write this. Do you know what I mean? Like this is, like I'm just grateful. Like this is mad. Like if it all ends today, like cool, innit? Like, because I was just like, right, it's crazy. So it's like I could not. It was one of those things. Like I said, I just knew. I just knew it's gonna happen. I didn't know how. I didn't know what it's gonna be. I didn't even think it would be the composers. That's me being black and white. I just knew, cool. I do this. I play drums, but I don't want to play. I just knew, for whatever reason, my way of playing drums is going to be very like cool to the public eye. You get what I mean? So I didn't know what to expect. I mean, as the years have gone, like it just happens. Things just happen. Like I don't, honestly, I don't actively say I want to do this, I want to do that. I just let it happen, and it just blows my mind every year. Like the stuff I end up doing, I'm just like, this is crazy, you know. So yeah, man. No, it's been a very, very eventful 10 years of my life. Like a lot of roller coaster moments. Obviously, you know, in light of social media, all you see is the good parts. You know what I mean? You only see the moments where, you know, showing you guys. But there's a lot that happens behind the scenes where like it's like this is a lot, you know, and a lot of people couldn't withstand some of these things for like 10 years. You know what I mean? So
has there been a moment where you thought, I don't want to do this anymore, as in the composers?
I don't think so. I don't think so. No, like there's times where like it's been hard and I'm just like, oh, this is long, man. Like, but giving up on the band hasn't. I honestly feel like me being in the band is more like, it's more a God thing. Like I think it's more like I'm planting you here. Do you know what I mean? So I don't think I have the choice to leave until I'm told in my spirit, like, yeah, you have to leave this thing. I don't think it's I think it's more than, well, I'm leaving the band. Like, it's actually more than that. Like I feel like I wouldn't be allowed to leave. Genuinely speaking, like even like the people that they wouldn't be like, nah, like not the band, the people that support the thing would be like, no, you can't. So I've never had that moment of like I want to give up. Definitely not. No.
So when you guys do your own show and like you look at the crowd, like how does that make you feel? Because even when I'm in the crowd, I'm like, I can't, like, that's actually my friend, that's my brother right there. Like, how does that make you feel?
It's nice, man. Like it's always amazing to see like people just coming out for you, enjoying what you do, and it's like you can see a mixture of people I don't know versus I look out and I see my friends. Sometimes I look out and I see my family. Then like, yeah, sometimes it's like there's people that you've literally you've been there from show number 1 and you're still here. And then there's new people. So it's like, I'm someone, I feed off energy. So when I come out on a stage and I see like people like, I'm just like, yeah, like I want to give them a good show. Like I want to make sure they have a good show. I want to make sure they enjoy themselves. So like, it's amazing. Like honestly, I can be having a terrible day, and I can get out on the stage and like just how the people make me feel like that's like comforting. Like, and I'm like, nah, let me go out there and give them like what they came here to see. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it's always amazing, man. Like especially when you go like around the world and like other countries and people are just like so like immersed to see you and like they're so happy to see you. It's just like I'm saying, something you started on a let's see how it goes.
Yeah.
Getting to that point where it's like people are literally going mad when they see you. It's like, it's crazy.
What's the biggest crowd you guys have played for?
I think maybe like 80,000.
Sorry?
I think we did a festival. I was like 80,000.
80?
Yeah.
1,000?
Yeah.
Where in the UK?
Yeah. Like I forgot what. No, it wasn't in the UK. It was somewhere in Europe. I forgot what festival it was. But you've done some crowds, man. You've done some crowds. Yeah, you've done some crowds.
How many destinations have you, like countries, have you guys travelled to as a band? Because you've been to every continent, almost.
I think apart from Asia and
Australia, yeah.
I've played every continent out there. Like Europe, Africa, America, North America, South America, Middle East. Yeah. But even this year, like there's Australia.
Oh, you're going to Australia this year?
There's Australia this year.
Wow.
We've got quite a big following there, surprisingly. Like, there's quite a following in Australia, yeah. Asia hasn't come yet, but I want Asia to come. I feel like when you're an artist, yeah, and you crack Asia, that's when you're like, yeah, I've done it now.
Yeah.
Now I've done it. Like, once you can break Asia. So, in due time, obviously. But yeah, I've been everywhere, man. Like, I don't know where. The day that made me say, okay, I've really travelled, I went to play a show in Cape Verde. I was like, I didn't even know this existed.
Yeah.
I didn't even know this place existed. And then it's like, so it was crazy. Like, I was like, this is mad. Like, what am I doing here? What's my business here? Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, man, we've been everywhere, literally.
That's crazy.
There's some places like that even feel like home. Like, that's how much I've gone there. Like
places like?
Nigeria, New Jersey. Like, those are two places that, like, I don't even want to say Ghana, because that's just
Ghana's home.
That's just
anyway,
one,
yeah.
Music or no music, Ghana's home, but like, literally, Nigeria feels like home. New Jersey feels like home. New York feels like home. Do you know what I mean? Like, when I get there, like, I got people there, and like, I know my way around. Like, it's mad. Like, I know my way around Lagos. Like, literally, I don't need anybody. Like, I know how to get to certain places. Do you know what I mean? Been there that much and built so many amazing relationships with people.
Because relationships is everything. Without relationships,
it's everything.
So how do you go about building those good relationships? Because we know it's everything, but some people probably don't know how to go about building those long-lasting relationships. So
I think the key to a good relationship is be yourself. Because I always say everybody needs a you. In some capacity, do you know what I mean? And that's the value, do you know what I mean? So it's like, I can honestly say certain things I've done in my life, certain things I've been able to do, certain things I've had access to, is simply because I just know this person, I know that person, and I'm cool with this person. And I think the biggest thing is just strive to always be like a good person, like with no hidden agendas, because people see through it. Like, it's such a blasé common statement we hear about clean hearts. Like, you will always win. Like, when your heart is just clean. Like, I never do anything with like the mindset of, oh, I'm doing this for this person because I want this. I'm just doing it because I'm doing it. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like that will come back to me in another way. Do you know what I mean? So it's like I was speaking to someone yesterday. I had a meeting yesterday, and I was saying to the guy, I was like, I think one thing I'm very grateful for is the fact that anything I want to do, anything I want, is literally one phone call away. Like literally, like I can
That's amazing.
I can go on my phone and literally, like, you could tell me like the craziest thing right now, and I guarantee you, I could go on my phone and I could find someone. If they can't do it, they can direct me to someone that can do it. Do you know what I mean? So, and honestly, like, relationships, like, it's currency. Do you know what I mean? In the world of business, like, it's currency. Like, literally, like, that's what you need. Like, you can expedite something that might take someone 5 years to do. If you have the right relationship, I promise you, in like a month. Like, honestly, there's something I've been trying to do for the last like 3 years actively. One relationship that I forgot about, and I came in touch with that person who remembered some stuff. He's like, I didn't even say anything, you know. He was just like, oh, look, like, I know you're into this. I can do this for you if you need it. And I actually laughed. He's like, why are you laughing? I said, you don't know, I've been trying to do this for years. So it's like, now, that thing I'm trying to do is like, boom, 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 it's go, go, go now. Like, it's like, okay, cool, let's do this, let's do that, let's do this, let's do that. Once we get to that, yeah, I'll just tick this off and then boom, you're in. Do you know what I mean? So sometimes, like, the purpose of your relationships will manifest later. Like, it's not always going to be in that first couple months. It might manifest later on. Like, there's people, honestly, I've known them for years, and we've only done stuff together from a business standpoint now. But it's good. Like, I had them there every now and again. Yes, bro, you good? Hey, sis, you're right. You good? Just checking in, make sure you're good. Come to a show. And then it's like, he's a good person. Like, I help him out. You know what I mean? So, yeah, man, relationships, whatever you're trying to do in this life, like, that's what's going to get you there, honestly.
Remember that. So, speaking about relationships and business, do you have a CV? First of all, do you have a CV? Because you've never worked a job.
Nah, never. I don't. I had a music CV at a point before, like, I got into the composers. Like, obviously, when I don't even know why that's a thing as well. Like, people were like, "Oh, you send your music CV." I was like, "Music CV," but I guess it was just to know like who you play for and stuff like that. But in terms of an actual CV, nah. Like, I've never gone to someone like, "Hi, I'm looking for a job." Like, nah, I've just always hustled myself. Do you know what I mean? And done what I need to do. I think the best teacher of business is experience. Like, you have to go through certain things. You can't learn everything from a book. Like, business is a crazy industry, like, just as an umbrella. So it's like, you have to learn certain things on the go, but definitely, like, just more like having certain systems in place, having types of people, like focus groups, the kind of meetings you need to set up, the kind of team you need, like the creative side of business ethics, all these different things, like, it comes to play, like, in your day-to-day dealings, like, with your business. Do you know what I mean? So definitely, man, like, it's played a part.
So I would say that you're a brand, and so being in the band, did you know that you didn't just want to be known for being in the band? Did you know that you wanted to do something more with your brand?
This is me. I'm gonna do this anyway. This is what I see for my life. Do you know what I mean? So it's always been there. Like, I'd say my first introduction to business was age 17, and I was by, like, I call him my big brother. Like, I always say, like, when I make my big bag, like, he knows it, Rodney. Like, I always say, like, because he really took me under his wing, like, in terms of, he was and still is. I call him Midas. Like, whatever he touches, it just turns to gold. And he took me under his wing, and just seeing him do the different things he's doing was like, yeah, I like this as well. Do you know what I mean? So it was like, I tell you what, when I was younger, I never perceived being a drummer as cool. So when people ask me, oh,
why though?
I don't know, I just thought, like, when I say younger, like, I'm talking like 9, 10, 11. So when people are like, oh, what do you want to be? I want to be a businessman. Like, that's such a vague statement. Like, so, because I liked the suit, briefcase, going to meetings, shaking hands. I liked that whole thing, you know. And so I'd say, yeah, age 17, I was kind of like, where it came from was, obviously, when you start something, like a career, like a creative career, everyone will tell you it is difficult from a financial perspective. Like, it's hard because the hours you put in versus what you get doesn't match. Like, let me put it into perspective for you, yeah? There is the 4 of us plus our manager. We could go and play show, like in our early days, we'd be going to shows for like £500-600. Now, ask me, how does that make sense? £500-600 between 5 guys. You need to get the equipment there, get the equipment back. That alone is about £250. Take away that £250 from £600, you're left with how much? £350. Is there even a point splitting that money? There's not a point. So, you know, like for a while, like it was like, obviously there was things that came in, you know, you make a little bit here, but it's like, you want to dedicate your time. You don't want to be time like restricted with your career. You want to give what you need to give. So that's where the thought came from. I was like, okay, cool. I want to give this thing my all, but I also want to make money. Do you know what I mean? It's not like I'm not making money here, but it's just not the greatest right now.
Yeah.
But it will get there eventually. It's a journey, right? So I was like, okay, cool. What can I do? Like, and it's like, I've tried. I'll say something that I have tried everything you can think of.
What have you tried?
I've tried everything legal you can think of. I've tried, like, in terms of business, like, you name it, I've done it. Like, you know, like, and it's like, it was just.
No, I want some examples.
What have I tried? I've done trading. I've done stocks. I've done e-commerce. I've done, you know, obviously now more in like property and stuff. I've done like network marketing businesses. I've done, do you know what I mean? I've set up like my own little music business.
Yeah.
And that's gone through so many different phases of, you know, what it is and how we do things. It's like, I've tried like, you know what I mean? So many different things. I've done like gold stuff, like so many different things, and it's just like, I just want that thing on the side that's gonna allow me to do my music fully until my music blows. And it's beautiful. Once my music blows, making money from music, making money from business, happy days, everything is good. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it never came. As I've gotten older in my recent days, one thing I've said to myself is, I won't do anything that's not natural to me. Do you know what I mean? Whatever I do should be, it's natural. So whatever you see me do outside of being in the composers, if you're close to me, you know, oh well, he's like that anyway. Yeah. He's always like this anyway. He always wants to do this. It's not like I've got some random, I don't know, what can I even say? Some random businesses, like, why is he doing this? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I want it to always be something that
fits in nicely,
and it fits around my music, because that is always my foundation. That's always going to be my number one thing. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, that's where the thoughts kind of came from.
So you mentioned property. How did you get into property? Because you're doing so well. You're really doing well.
Yeah, that came during
lockdown.
Yeah. So it was I'd say 2019, it was a thought. It was a thought. I was like, oh, like I really want to, because that's when, like, you know, things started making sense on the music
the
side.
money was coming in.
The money was starting to come in nicely. Like, I was like, okay, cool, I'm making like good money here, like decent money. And I, again, like I'm saying, relationships. So I knew like a lot of my, like, they call them like my big bros, like my big bros that were doing business, like, they all had like property as well. And like, I think that's one thing we all just know, like, you can't go wrong with buying property. So I was like, let me try and get into this field, right? So the story goes in a very short way. So 2019, I'm like, okay, cool, next year I want to buy a house. That's literally all I said to myself. I was like, one day I'll show this, basically one day I'm going to have like a book or something. And I will show these things, like, I have a notebook. So I said to myself, okay, cool, 2019, 2020, I want to buy a property. and it doesn't have to be in London or something fancy. I just want a property. That's how it began, right? And so 2020 comes, so I'm now assessing my, obviously the beauty is with what we do, like we get a lot of stuff in advance, like scheduling and stuff. So I knew what my diary consisted of for the first quarter of the year. So at the time, with some money that I'd saved, plus what I was about to make, I was like, oh, I can do this.
This makes sense.
I can make this happen. Like, I can actually make this happen. And then, so one day, I stumbled across a video, right, of Patricia Bratt. And I'm someone I just love to watch, male or female. I just like business content. So I was listening to her, and she was talking about like her properties and stuff. I was like, right, like, sis is really like, she's doing her thing, man. And then at the time, someone then said to me like, you would love a video she did with this guy. And then they sent me the video. So this guy is, I'm not giving no one free promo in it, but he was like a proper property investor, right? I'm hooked on these videos for like 4 hours. Like, I'm sat in my room just watching all these videos, and I'm like, damn, like this thing is very possible. Like, so I'm like, okay, cool. Like, yeah, I want to do this. So he had like a course. I went on one of the courses, and then again, like I've gone to the course. I'm like, bro, this is mad. Like, boom, COVID hits. I'm actually on tour at the time in America. COVID hits. I'm like, damn. I'm like, what am I gonna do? Like, this is mad. Come home. I'm like, cool. At the time, I was very naive. I thought COVID was gonna be like 2 weeks.
Yeah, everyone. That's what they were saying though.
Yeah, I thought like it was to the point where even the tour promoters gave us a date, like when it's gonna come. Yeah. I'm like, alright, cool. Let me go back home, see family. I'll be back. Cool, no problem. 3 years on, we're still feeling the effects of it.
Literally.
But yeah, so I was like, alright, cool. I'm gonna do this property thing. I've got the time. Because obviously what we do, music, performing, we can't do that right now. It's non-existent right now. So I was like, okay, cool. I'm gonna do this property thing. So I just started immersing myself in content, in studying, in networking. And what I realized was I have so many people around me that I know, again, one phone call away, that are doing this thing. Like, whether they're doing it full time or they're doing it in like little pockets, they're doing property. So like, it was a lot of like conversations. Listen, obviously at that time you gotta go now. So it was just me and Zoom. Yeah, Zoom. Every day I'm on Zoom, I'm on webinars, so I'm just learning, like getting knowledge. And then comes a point like you've learned enough, innit? Like, you gotta take action now. So I just went out there. Obviously it's COVID, but you know, houses are still being sold. Houses were actually being, it was going mad around that period, So I just started like going on viewings and stuff. So yeah, and then like there was a strategy called rent to rent, which I found quite it's lower barriers to entry capital wise. And yeah, so I got my first one May or June 2020. I got my first one. It was in Luton. That was my first one. Got it. It didn't go too well but like anything in it, you learn. I didn't see it as I kept it for like a year. And, you know, I was always just trying to make it work, and then from there went on, expanded, did more, and then you know I moved more into like I want to start buying property and stuff now, like you know, like and owning stuff. So I started like going more there, and then obviously, like truth be told, as I was going on, it started to become obviously, I think 2021. Music kind of opened up again a little bit, like towards the back end of summer. So it just came bam out of nowhere. So like it now became a bit hard, like in terms of scheduling and timing. So property kind of it was a bit up and down, like in terms of what I could put in to it, but it's something that's remained. Do you know what I mean? It's a staple part of my life. Like, it's a business that like I'm very like actively involved in, like involved in it. So yeah, that's been a very up and down journey as well, like stressful one. But nonetheless, I know what my plans are. Yeah. So it's a long-term game. Okay. I'm not in it for the getting a new house kind of thing. Like
the keys.
Yeah, I'm not in it for that. Like there's a big. And it will manifest eventually, and you'll see like, okay, right, like it wasn't some 2x4 thing he was just trying to do to get by, like, you know. So I don't mind it not being like $1 million thing right now. Like, we'll get there in the next like 5 years.
So for someone who wants to go into property, what are, let's say, 3 main things you'll tell them to either look out for or to avoid to be successful in property?
Avoid comparison.
As in other people?
Yeah. Avoid comparing yourself to other people.
Like how many people show the keys and stuff?
Yeah, avoid that. Because there's a lot of lies in property. You know, there's a lot of people out doing what they say they're actually doing. Take your time. Don't rush.
In terms of what, finding the right property?
Yeah, in terms of building the business, don't rush. There's no rush. Like, don't rush. And yeah, take your time. Don't compare yourself to other people, and just have a good mindset to it.
Okay.
Because it's, in this day and age, it's made to seem like, I'm sure we've all seen it. Do you want to start property investing with zero money, no money down deals, and change your life and make £10,000 a month in the space of 6 months? The reality of that is it's like 1 in 7, 8 people do that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I thought that's what it was going to be for me. I was the other 7 people. I wasn't the one.
The one,
8.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. Like, you have to have tenacity. You have to have a strong mindset, and I think I've gone over 3, but like there's a lot. It's like actively surround yourself with people like that are doing it. Like, I've got an amazing like circle. Like, they become like brothers. Do you know what I mean? So it's like I'm forced to be inspired, whether I like it or not. Like, if I feel down, one of them will just put in the group chat, "Yo, I just done this deal," and it's like, "Oh my gosh, like that's a mad deal. Like, my boy's doing it, I can do it." I've literally seen one of my boys, Ethan. I shout out Ethan. Ethan has literally gone from 0 to hero in property. Like, in the space of 18 months, he's bought 6 properties. He's quit his job. Like, he's a full-time property investor now, and it's like, you know, he's just doing amazing things. So it's like, honestly, like, you have to understand, like, buying even one house every 2 years is an amazing achievement.
Yeah.
You know, it's an amazing achievement, but I just think a lot of people are now so consumed with what you're seeing on the internet. It's like you're basing your success and your measuring stick on what other people are doing, which is wrong. Do you know what I mean? For example, like, a lot of women and, like, you know, that have like a lot of these like hair businesses and stuff, they do amazing. Like, and I see them do amazing things, but it's like, I see some people give up quite quickly. But I'm like, okay, but you don't know their backstory. You don't know how long it took them to get to this point. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, stuff like that, stuff like just don't compare to other people. Like, listen, you guys wouldn't, I feel like with me a lot as well, like, people look at me and all the stuff that I'm involved in and think, oh my gosh, this guy is like,
on a different level.
You're just an anomaly. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I hear, like, I'm not saying it in a boastful way, but like, I'm saying what I'm told by people, even my parents. Like, the stuff I hear my parents come and tell me that people are saying to them, I'm like, what? Like, but it's like, you wouldn't believe what I've been through, what I'm still going through, where I am today. In my business, you wouldn't imagine the amount of losses I've taken. Like, people, honestly, I'll say it plain as day, people couldn't stomach how much money I've lost in property, like, through bad deals and mistakes I've made and not doing things the right way. But I'm okay, because I'm like I said, I'm in it for the long run. I'm not in it for today and tomorrow. Else I should have quit. Honestly, with how much money I've lost, I should have just quit and said, hey, let me just play my drums and do that. You understand what I'm saying? The same as the music. Like, it's so like up and down. Someone can't stomach that, but I'm like, no, because one day it's just gonna go. You don't work in vain. You know what I mean? It's like you plant your seeds, and boom, one day this will harvest beautifully. And then, oh yeah, all the years of, you know, toiling, it makes sense now. Do you know what I'm saying? So yeah, going back to your question, for anyone trying to get into property, like, that's what I'll say. And another thing, not everybody has to have a property business. Yeah. That's another thing we need to understand. You can buy your 1 or 2 houses and it's fine. You don't have to brand it as, look, in all the years I've had this property business, I've not made no Instagram page, I've not made no website. it's not that. It's me doing my business. It's between me, my investors, and my tenants. That's it. That's my. I don't need it to, because I'm not. That's not the brand. That's not my brand when it comes to that. Like you rightfully said, and I'm happy you said it, because that's what I realized. I am the brand, and this is just an arm of the brand. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like, with that, I just know that's not. Again, Ethan has a website. Ethan has, all these things, because that's what he
him.
is. He's a full-time property investor. You get what I'm saying? So just understand where you fit, like, with property, and you'll be fine.
You'll be fine.
You'll be fine. If you buy one house, it's good.
Okay, it's good enough. I want to get into. I told you today. I want to get into the lows as well. Because I feel like our lows shape us more than the highs do. And as males as well, I feel like they can suppress a lot of their emotions and feelings and dark times. So when you're feeling down about yourself, life, what do you do to get yourself out of that? Like, is there anyone that you can lean on? Is there, apart from, like, I know we turn to God and everything, but yeah, what do you do when you're going through?
I think, this is one thing, especially amongst men. Like, I was watching Patrice Evra's. He did an interview with Stephen Bartlett.
Yeah.
And it was very powerful, because the stuff he was saying, he was like, I was just like, wow, like, you'd never think that about him. Like, the way he comes across on, like, the media and stuff like that. And it's just like, it's normal. We're human beings. Like, we're not robots, you know what I mean? Like, especially, and I think men in our field, like, creative field, like, we suppress that feeling of seeming less than. And it's something that I think I've tried. Honestly, I think in my life, one of my darkest, I've had 2 very dark periods in my life.
I know COVID time was hard.
COVID, you knew firsthand, like, COVID, I think everything that could happen in life was happening. In all aspects of my life, it was happening. And again, for the simple fact that I seem fine, people would not think that I was going through what I was going through, but I lost basically everything in COVID. Do you know what I mean? Like, and it was mad. And then another time, and it's only recently, like, I started talking about it a lot more, is when, like, my dad was sick, and my dad was, again, that's something you knew. I was so checked out of life, because I was like, my dad is my everything. Literally, like, anything I know about being a man comes from my dad. And I was like, at the time, I was like 21 or 22, and I was like, nah, man, like, I'm not ready for this. I'm not ready to lose my dad. And it was a very dark time, because it's like, I'm just thinking, if I lose my dad, like, what do I do? And it's like, I was very checked out of, like, little things, like, we had some shows, like, I would tell the boys, I'd be like, I don't think I can go, like, I'm not too, like, I don't want to be away, and then something happens to my dad. And it's like, I remember one time I went to ask my dad, I was like, look, Dad, I need to travel to America for a few days to go and play a show, like, but I don't want to go. And my dad looked at me like, nah, go. Like, I was like, nah, but Dad, like, you're here, like, in the hospital, like, and he's like, nah, go. And I went, and thank God, obviously my dad is still here with me today, like, perfect health, like, he's fine. But I think one thing I've struggled with is talking to people, because I see myself, and again, you know this because you know me, I'm the person everyone comes to talk about everything. I'm the person, Stephen, I want to start this, what do you think? Stephen, I'm going through this, what do you think? And, like, it got to a point, and this is one thing I love about some of my brothers, like, my boys, like, literally, like, you see me up and down. I always say, you see me up and down. I just called him. He's like, yo, like, hey, you been about for a bit? I was like, yeah. I was like, yeah, man, just did about take my. He's like, what's it all saying? I was like, yeah, good. No, it was him and Iman. They came to my house, and then Iman was like, but bro, how are you? Like, how
That's
are
the
you,
question,
though?
yeah.
And like, it opened up like a floor. Like, we were just talking, man. Like, we were just talking. Another one is Anton, Ben. Like, Anton, that's been my right hand man from, like, literally 20 years now, literally. And, you know, he's someone like, I talk to him about everything. Ben, I talk to Ben about, Ben, honestly, like, that he's such a special human being, like, honestly, like, and it's like, I feel like as I've grown up, like, I'm a guy, but I'm not afraid to talk about my boys like this. Like, I tell them all the time, like, I love you, bro. Like,
it's so important.
Do you know what I mean? Like, because I want you to know, like, I really love you. Like you mean so much to me. Like, it's not only a girl I'm with, I can tell I love you. Like, you mean a lot to me. Like, my boys, like, because it's like, you know, Ben, I always say Ben is a special guy because I don't think there's anything I've done in my life, anything I've set up in my life, he hasn't been there to consult. Be like, oh, try it like this, try it like that. And then in my down periods, I can call Ben, I can call Anton, I can call Eman, I can call Persis, I can call, you know, all these guys, I can call Keenan, I can call the Darius. Like, they're there to talk. And it's like, it's important to, I think you get to an age, especially as a man, you need to really assess who's around you, because if you don't, who do you turn to when you feel like these things? Do you know what I mean? It's all well and good, like, obviously, for those who are in relationships and stuff, yeah, you have a partner, but I always say women are very maternal beings, so they understand things from a certain perspective. But as a man, only a man can there's conversations I can have with my dad that I can't have with my mum, because my dad will understand. And do you understand? Like, and vice versa. So it's like, if you don't have a set of people, like, even down, I think as men, our problem is toxic masculinity. You have to let go of that. There is no harm in feeling less than, because the reality is we're human beings. Like, we go through things. So I think I was saying to even the band the other day in a conversation we spoke about that, bruv, like, look, yeah, cool, we look like these big cool guys, like, running around on stage being rock stars, but listen, let's also learn to exercise. Like, if you see your boy and he's come to a show today, he's come to rehearsal today and he seems off, call him. Call him. Like, you, bro, you're right. Like, today I saw you seem a bit, and you let, like, you know, sometimes, yeah, it happened the other day, I won't say who, but I called one of my boys and I was like, oh yeah, bro, I'm just calling to, like, check in on you, man. He was on the phone for nearly 2 hours and he was just offloading, and I was like, he needed this. He needed this outlet. He needed to, and I was like, bro, anytime, don't keep it in. I'm here. Just call me. Like, trust me, I will listen. Sometimes you don't even need to say anything. You know?
Yeah, they just know.
They just need someone to talk to. So it's like, if you can't, there's no point. You get to a place in life, and that's where I am in my life. Everyone has to be of some kind of value. Else, there's no point having you close to me. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, who do you turn to? Like, else you just sit in your. That's what I was going through in, like, COVID. I had no one to turn to at a point. I felt like I had no one. And even me, myself, I pushed those people away that I could turn to because of toxic masculinity. I felt like, nah, I can't share this with them. So even when they're trying to speak to you, no, it's nothing. No, it's nothing. No, it's nothing. I'm good. But you're evidently not okay. In COVID, like, you could see my mum would always say, you're not okay. Stop lying. Like, you're just in your room, you're losing weight. You have no reason to be losing weight because you're not going anywhere. And
she's cooking for you guys.
You understand? I was like, you're losing weight. What's wrong? And I was like, Mom, I'm fine. And I'm a boy. After a while, okay, it's fine. You know what I mean? But, you know, I think we really need to learn. And I love seeing how it's becoming a thing now. Like, for men to talk to each other. There's a lot of, like, you know, male breakfast groups and male, like, networking events and safe spaces and all these, and it's good practice because women do it.
Yeah.
Women do it. Female empowerment is a real thing. Like, it's a real thing. Like, women actively live. Listen, you cannot know someone. Go, sis. Yes, sis.
Yeah.
You're more, sis. You are more, sis. You are. You know what I mean? And we need to do that as well.
She did that.
Sis, I'm rooting for you, man. Sis, go, sis, man. I'm rooting for you, man. You are a queen. You are a black queen. You are, like, all these things. Like, you know what I mean? This is what they do, and it's like, women hail like men. Oh, my black king. Like, you are black kings. You know what I mean? But men need to hail up men. Do you know what I mean as well? Like, and that's what I think I'm big on. Like, you probably see it a lot. I repost any achievement I see a brother
Because
doing.
why not? Everyone deserves their
Everyone
flowers.
deserves their
It's not
flowers.
later on that you need to give people
You
their
understand?
flowers.
And it's
Like right now.
You know, there's so many amazing figures out there, and it's like, but again, like, I think the man them just always need to remember, yo, trust me, we're human beings. You are gonna be down. You are gonna feel less than. Things aren't gonna work out, and you're gonna feel like, oh, where do I turn? Like, something I struggled with for a long time was I felt like my career is not where it should be. But it took me talking to people to know that actually the measuring stick I'm using is wrong. Like, and I had to take myself out of myself and look at everything and be like, which is why I'm saying to you, on my birthday, I just broke down and I was just like, whoa, like, fam, like, this is mental. Like I've gone here, I've played in front of this person, I've sat with this person, I've shaken hands with this person. Like, it's mad, do you know what I mean? But until you have certain conversations, you don't realize it, do you know what I mean? And it's just, you need a mental outlet. And I think as a man as well, find what works for you. Do you know what I mean? I know what to do now when I feel down.
And what do you do? What works for you?
I think I just always need a reminder of my why, like why I'm doing something. So for example, me, like, if I feel down, I'll just get up, jump in my car, and I'll drive to certain areas, and I'll park the car, I'll just walk, and I just see all these big houses, all these nice houses, and the cars people are driving. Not that I'm being materialistic, but I'm like, this is what I'm aspiring to one day, do you understand? And it's like, immediately, like, my spirit is ignited, and I'm like, bro, why are you feeling down? Like, what are you feeling down for? Like, just work. Because I guarantee you, anyone that walks out of these houses right now, if you ask them, like, what's your story?
Mate, how long do you have?
Do you know what? I've lost it. I've lost this, and so it's like, and I think I will blame social media for this as well. We're young, man. We're very young. Like, we are actually young. Like, I'm 26. Do you understand? I'm 26 years old. I do not need to have a Lamborghini and all these chains, and I live in the high-rise apartment, and but I think for a lot of people now, they're using social media as their measuring stick. So it's now become, if you don't have this, you ain't lit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, nah, it's not. That doesn't mean anything. Do you know what I mean? Like, when I was in Ghana, for example, like, thankfully, you know, with what I do, like, I have access. You know what I mean? But I told myself, I was like, I'm here with my boys. I'm not here as Stephen from the Composers. I'm here as Stephen. So I don't need to go everywhere and expect to be handed a table with 3 bottles and, oh, we got the Composers. I'm not expecting that. Do you know what I mean? But I feel like we live at a time where validation is sought from the wrong things, materialistic things, like earthly things that it's just for short-term gratification and thrills. Like, it's like, nah. Like, and I feel like once you program your mind that way, there's certain things you won't chase, certain things you won't desire, certain things you won't do. I promise you, anyone you're looking at driving a Lamborghini and all these things, you get it. And see how long it lasts for. My last car that I bought, I was just like, I remember when I wanted that car, I can't wait to have this car. I can't wait to have this car. I can't wait to have this car. When I see people driving, I'm like, oh yeah, it's gonna be me soon. One of my boys even bought the same car. He brought it to my house. I got in the car. I was like, bro, soon. I bought the car. 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. It's done. Like, the thrill's gone.
Yeah.
I'm not actually thinking about my next car. I look forward to my next car. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, obviously, you know. So it's just like, I think when your priority is like your inner self, like, am I happy? Is everybody around me happy? Am I doing what I want to be doing in life? Like, once you have that, I promise you, you might not even make money from what you're doing, but the fact that you're doing it, you're happy. I don't make £1 million a show.
Yeah.
I don't make 50 grand a show, but I'm happy being there. I'm no disrespect to anyone that works 9 to 5. I'm happy doing that than sitting in the office.
Yeah.
I'm like, God being so good, I've never been in a position where I have to turn to that. Do you know what I mean? God's always made a way for me in that field. So it's like, I'm happy. That's it. Like, so long as I'm happy, I'm good. Like,
So you're happy right now?
yeah, man, I'm good, man.
Sure.
I'm good, man.
Okay.
I'm good. I'm happy. Like, overall, I'm happy. I have things in my life that are stressful, but it's things that I can control and things that you know, one thing I said to my boy the other day, a gift that you take for granted is knowing how you're going to get out of a situation. That's something, you can't take that for granted. Like, people are in situations, they don't even know how. Do you know what was very powerful, yeah? I saw, I cannot take for granted that anything that is stressing me, I know my way out. I know what I have to do. I know the active steps. So that's another thing. And if you don't know, speak to someone because they can help you. They can give you a perspective. Oh, do this, do that. There's a lot of help out there. You know, you're not. Look, I'm not afraid to say. After COVID, I took the plunge and did therapy for a bit. I needed it. I just needed it. Like, I needed to do it because I was like, bruv, like, I'm going mad here. Like, I'm losing my mind, like, a little bit. And it's like, yeah, it's well and good speaking to people, but everyone, look, if I speak to you, you know me. You are one of, after my parents and my family, you are one of the few people that know me, like, in and out. But because you know me, if I speak to you and I tell you something, the reality is you're going to tell me from, yeah, but Stephen, you're like this though, so did you do this? Do you understand what I'm saying? Versus just speaking to a professional, a psychological professional. They are painting a picture of the scenario you're explaining to them and giving you advice in a way where, oh, actually, I didn't think of that. Don't shy away from it. It's fine. And then there's the ultimate, you know, my foundation is God.
Of course.
Do you know what I mean? Praying, speaking to my church family. Do you know what I mean? There's people that, sometimes someone can just pray for you and just feel lighter at once, you know? So, yeah, man, them, trust me, have emotions, it's fine. Cry.
It's actually okay.
It's actually okay.
It's really okay.
It's okay, cry, tell your boys you love them.
Yeah.
Tell your boys your problems. It's fine to be less than. You don't always have to be the big bad wolf. You don't always have to be.
I love that. So do you feel like you found your purpose?
100%.
What is Stephen's purpose?
I think it's just bringing joy to people.
Through music, or not just music?
I feel like I am a source of inspiration. And I say that from how I see people react to me and yeah, and how I'm received and perceived by a lot of people. I think I'm someone, and I sometimes even get like criticized for it, but I'm really out there for people. Like, there is nobody I will shut off having a conversation with, you know. And it's just I just want to see everyone do well. Like, do you know what I mean? Look, when you wanted to start this, like, I was like, yeah, man, do it 100%. Try this, try that, and go for it. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, I love being that person. Yesterday when someone was asking me like, oh, do you know anyone that can do this? Yeah, I can pay you for. I was like, bro, don't pay me, man. I was like, I don't need money from you. Like, my joy will come from seeing you doing what you said you want to do.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I feel like I'm here to just, through my talent, through my gift, just bring happiness to people through what God's given me, like the people God's given me, help other people as well. Like, you know, I'm a really good connector. You know, Stephen, do you know anyone that does this? Yeah, my dad does this, man. Yeah, here's his number.
So what does this year look like for you?
It's busy, man. It's very busy.
More traveling.
Yeah, a lot. This is the 10-year anniversary of Composers.
So exciting.
So there's like a lot of stuff, touring, events, like special events around that. Yeah, a lot. The businesses that I have, like, I've kind of gone through like stages of them, but I feel like I have my direction. So yeah, property wise, there's like a few projects, and there's one project like I'm very, very like excited about. That's finally like emotion. There's a few others like, you know, emotion. Yeah, just honestly, like I'm someone that I just let. Obviously, I don't just sit back and let whatever, but I let God lead. Do you know what I mean? Like God knows how the year's gonna make sense and what it's gonna be. So it's like I just let it happen, man. Like, but it's gonna. I have a very, very,
Good
very
feeling
good feeling
about this year.
Like,
It's different.
and it's more from my mind is very. I'm gonna make sure it's a good year.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like I've been through up and down years, and I'm like,
Yes,
this is
it's
gonna
up
be
to you
a
now.
good year,
Yeah.
like in all aspects, you know. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the year, man. Like, I'm excited for the year. I'm in like a good mental space with the year, so it's gonna be a good one, man.
I'm excited for you. Just want to say I'm really proud of you, honestly. And like I said in the beginning, I'm so happy to have a seat at your little table.
Yeah.
Like, it's really inspiring.
Our
So.
table's lit.
It's lit.
It's lit.
It's lit.
You know,
It's
our table's lit, man.
Oh, okay.
It's
Thanks. Yeah, it's good people.
good people, man.
Thanks for coming.
Say baby don't find no way to shine. Show why me.